um, this, oh, we're to 100, and I don't know what my license is. So if they cap us at 100, or if they'll let more people come in, because my license says 100 participants in a class. So I tried to do more, but it was a little, it jumps way up when you go the price. It's different. So welcome to class, everyone. We'll just do a little housekeeping before we start. We will mute everybody, and then if you need to talk, you can hit your space bar. It will unmute you. So Doug, if you'll mute all, and then I'll unmute me. Okay, so now we've muted everyone, so there's less chatter. If you need to talk, feel free to talk. It's just that we can hear pencils rattling. We hear a lot of background noise. So if you want to talk, just hit your space bar, ask a question. That's the reason we do live classes, is that when you have a question, you can ask it. We are working on note cards, so I'm going to just put, oh, and I should say, if we do have a handout for today, and it gives the 4 tangles that we're going to do. And I think we're going to start with you are capable of amazing things, because I really liked this particular tangle. This one right here is rock and roll, but the leaf is called Jag. And I had fun with Jag because it's just a different little organic. So we're going to start with what I put on this tangle. So I'm just going to get a note card, and I just happened to pick up one that has the exact same thing on it that I just did, and I'm going to use my 01 pen. And I love rock and roll. Maria did this for Laura Helms when she's a diva, and she did this one for her on her 100th challenge, I think many years ago, and it is a great tangle. So I'm just going to start in the center, and I'm just going to put a little weight, and then I'm going to make a round circle like I'm spiraling, and I'm going to come in close so you can see what I'm doing. So I just spiraled around, and then we're going to rock back and make a little hump. So you see I made a little weight on that. I just kind of rocked back, and then I'm going to come around a little bit, and then I'm going to come back and make a little hump and fill that in. Hence you're seeing what rock and roll. I just thought Maria's just clever. And you just keep going around, and your bumps back can be anywhere you want them to be. You just go, and we're just going around and around. And I think this has that kind of a little rose look to it. And also, if you are wiggly and you don't draw a straight line, you have like a little shake in your hand, this one just looks cooler. My husband thinks it looks like a cinnamon roll. He must be hungry. But so you don't have to worry about whether or not they are smooth or not. And when I come, I just embed mine back in. You can see I decided it's come to the end. I just stopped it by going right back into that other line. And that's my rock and roll. Is that not the simplest one? I guess it would be considered a 2-step tangle. Not our 2-stroke tangle. I really call it a 1-stroke tangle because I never lift my pen. And now I'm going to start another one, and so that they're nestled together. So I'm just going to start another one, and I'm going to give it a little weight to begin with. And then I'm going to draw around it, and then do my back. And I really like to make mine have that little wavy line. you know, so that it's not real round. It's just, see me, I jumped over there and filled in a little bit. I kind of went back and filled it in, but I like to fill in as I go around. And so it's like auraing your, I really practiced trying to say that word. I listened to Rick say it, and auraing. I think that's how he said it. So I'm just going to go around, and then I'm just going to stop right there. And then I'm going to do another. You see, I did what's called hollybaw. For those who aren't familiar, where you draw under. So it looks like this is my top one, and this one goes under. So I really want to start my next rows or my next rock and roll pretty close to the ones I've already done, so that they are kind of nestled into each other. So this one, I didn't put a little weight on the end of it. I just started the little spiral. So you don't always have to put a little weight on that very center. And you can make that rock back as far back as you want. If you want it to be a large rock back, you know, where it comes back on itself, you can make it longer, or you can do it so it's just a little one. And now mine are going under those two that I did previous. And I come over and do another one. And so I kind of try to keep my space equal between, you know, as I go around, it's, you know, it's pretty much the same distance in between the little lines. I try to keep it in equal distance, so it's all as I work around it. And I like to put, like, I will do 3, 5. I usually do an uneven number because it's more eye-pleasing than if I did 4. So that was something my mom, she was an artist, and she would always say, you know, uneven numbers, but you know, there's no rules in Zentangle, so you just do whatever pleases you. And sometimes those little bumps are larger, and sometimes they're small. So I'm going to just go around. I'm probably going to do a couple more, and then we're going to do that little jag leaf. But rock and roll, there are a couple of other tangles. There's foxtrot and oh my goodness, I was going to remember what they were. I might have to look them up. And
the other one is waltz.
Waltz, yes, thank you. And they are fun. I think that they all have an organic look to them, and you can put them just about anywhere to fill up a space. So if you're not familiar with the diva dance tangles, the waltz, the foxtrot, and the rock and roll, you need to look them up because they're just fun. And did you see, I decided that this one right here, this last one I didn't like that I had quite a few bumps going. So I just auraed the whole thing because I felt like it needed just to stop because I had so many bumps on the outside. And so I just put an aura all the way around without doing any rock back on it. I'm going to do one more here, and then we're going to do our jag little leaf. And I have to remind myself, especially when I am under stress, that I hold my pen lighter, don't grip it too tight, and don't push too hard, because I tend to push fairly hard with my pens anyway. And when I get under stress, I push even harder, and it doesn't do good things to the pen. It kind of makes that tip of that pen collapse inside of the pen itself, and I am just very heavy-handed. So a lot of times that's why I use the PN pen, because I don't ruin the pens as much. And I'm just going to do another one on the outside. So now I have 5 little rock and rolls on here. And now I'm just going to do my leaves, and I might add another rock and roll as I get going, but I'm going to scan out just a little bit. Yeah, my husband thinks it looks like cinnamon rolls. And I would say these are raisins, but he doesn't like raisins. Oh, he said that we don't eat flour or sugar, and so he's really having withdrawal, I think. So I don't know. So now we're going to just do our jag, and this is, you know, it was amazing because I looked at it and I thought, oh, you could just make the jag the leaf without the first starting, but I better get this down here so you can see. This is jag, and we're going to draw this outside shape first. And I thought, oh, why did they draw the outside shape? You know, I kind of was thinking about it. And then after I drew it, I like the contrast that happens to this particular tangle. The black that you see just makes that really pop, and it really goes well with this particular tangle. So I'm going to just start out by drawing a good size leaf shape. So we want that, and you want it fairly good for your first one so that you can you have room to draw. So you want that nice leaf shape. And if you wanted to do a rounder leaf, you could, but I think with the little jagged points, this leaf shape works best. But, and of course we're doing jag, so this is, you know, I change things all the time. But now we're just going to start out down here in the end, and I'm just going to do a zigzag jagged line up, and I just touch that outside line, and I'm just doing so that it went up and then I'm going to come back here, and I'm just going to go down, and they're not a particular size, they're very random. And when I first did it, I thought that looks terrible, I didn't like it. But then I came back in and filled in this space, and I really love this tangle because it has the meditative quality. When you do fill-in work, it is, for me, very zen. And as I fill this in, I started to see, I really liked what was happening. And you see, on the very tip, I went up and I thickened that line. I made it just a little thicker than my original because I wanted it to have a little bit of black behind it. Simple little leaf tangle, but amazing drama that it creates. It just has Isn't that amazing? And then we come in and we just put a line up the center, and we're just going to put our little leaf veins up the center. You could leave those out if you wanted to, but I really like that look in there. If I'm going to do an organic tangle, I kind of like that look. And now the next, you can do several of them. I'm going to do another one. And this one's not quite as large. And I'm going to do my zigzag. And this time I did a little different zigzag at the top. I left it, it just turned out different. We'll see what it looks like when I fill it in. I think history was just made. I probably went maybe 30 seconds without talking. Yeah, my husband laughed at that one too. And now I'm going to put that center little, and I do a kind of a stroke it out. I kind of lift as I do my pen, so it makes that stroke a kind of lighter on the end. I just kind of like that. And this one can just be this was the one I was doing when I was practicing, and you can see I ended up with 5 little roses, and then I just did more. But I just want to talk about when I do a card, I like to have a border around it. And you can see I placed a border around the outside of this. Matter of fact, almost all of my cards have a border done around it. And I always do them by hand, no ruler. I know it kind of frightens some people, but this is the best way to learn how to draw a line that you like, is when I start, I put the fatty part of my hand down on my paper and I rest it there, and then I start drawing my line until I feel like I can't go any farther. Then I stop, and sometimes I will leave a little space and go, and with that little space, I'm going to come in, if your line is not exactly straight, it kind of helps the eye. It's an illusion to the eye. So then when I go to do the corners, sometimes I will just leave the corner. I don't match those up because it's a little harder. And then as I practice, so I can draw all the way. Whoop, I was out of the camera. My husband let me know. And, but there I have a border around my card, and it just kind of helps pull things together. And then sometimes I will go back and I'm going to pick up I'm going to get a jelly roll out. And I'm way stuck on pink things lately. So I'm going to do, I'm going to just pick up, for those who didn't see, this is a jelly roll by Paper Mate. And it was a gift to me, a whole set of them. And they're called Paper Mate Ink Joy Gel 0.7. And I don't know if they're archivable ink, but like I said, when you do note cards, you can have less of you don't have to worry as much. So next row I'm just going to do a small one and then a dot. And this also helps. I'm going to come in so you can see that a little bit better. So you can see that I'm just doing a line and a dot. And my lines will be, maybe it'll be a little shorter on that end. These are the same as the other jelly rolls. You have to watch, that ink does not dry very fast. So you don't want to put your hand over it. You want to give it a chance to dry. And so this in the corner, they're just a little stubby. Ooh, I can feel it's not dry. And I just about put my hand in it. I'm gonna blow on it a little bit. Let's see if I can do it without putting my hand on. Because that's the one thing about Jelly Roll is that that ink just takes a little longer to dry, and I am probably very impatient. Matter of fact, as I was, and I'm gonna get a little religious on you, but that's okay, I guess, for me. I was reading in scriptures in Matthew, and I might not have been Matthew, but it was what lack I yet. And I got thinking about that and studying that, and I thought about the fact that I lack patience and that I needed to have more patience to be a better person. And I think that we all need to kind of self-reflect on, look at ourselves and reflect and see how we can be better. And mine was have more patience. To make this kind of go together, I'm going to put a little pink Jelly Roll right here in the center of my my cinnamon roll. Yeah, the rock and roll. My husband said cinnamon roll. Just put that, and then I will come back and do more leaves on here. But in order to get all of these done, and I'm gonna pick up a green pen, and I'm just gonna put just some little vines coming out. So it just curls back on itself. Just an easy little vine that just kind of, helps with that organic look. I didn't use fescue. That's that's usually they end up in everything, but there were no fescues. There were no fescues in my original. Oh, I misled you. There they are. And then I decided I didn't want them, so there were a fescue in it. So there we have rock and roll and jag. And I just think that is, there's the other one. This is a little gray paper. This was done on white. Sometimes this might even be a light gray paper. I don't know. I have a stack of a cardstock and that I used to put in my printer, and I like earth tone colors. I don't very often do other than earth tones. That's just kind of a neutral. So there we have it. Now we're going to